Good evening and welcome to Zodiac News with me, Veronica Mwale. I'm glad you could join us. First, our top stories. Cashgate forced Malawi down global corruption index. European Union urges Malawi to do more to improve public finance management. Kama has suspended the demonstrations scheduled for this Thursday in Blantyre over water crisis. Education Ministry warns against mismanagement of public funds. These are some of our top stories tonight. Stay with us. Malawi has slumped 19 places to rank 110th in a global index of perceived official corruption, which commentators say is due to Cashgate. The Corruption Perceptions Index for 2014, launched in Lilongwe today, found Malawi to be one of the 5 biggest losers of points along with Turkey, Angola, China and Rwanda. Meanwhile, the National Integrity Platform says its high-time government took some drastic measures to curb the vice. Winston Mwale reports.
More than two-thirds of the 175 countries in the 2014 Corruption Perceptions Index have scored below 50 on a scale from 0 to 100. A score of 10 indicates that a country is perceived to be highly corrupt, while a score of 100 shows that the country is perceived to be very clean. According to the Corruption Perceptions Index 2014, released in the capital Lilongwe on Wednesday, Denmark comes out on top with a score of 92. The Corruption Perceptions Index 2014 indicates that Malawi, together with 4 other countries, has made a huge fall as far as corruption ranking is concerned. National Integrity Platform board member Chandwira Chisi says this is worrisome.
It's true, Malawi has not done well. It has slided from position 91 in the last assessment to position 110. This does not really come as a very big surprise for us because it just confirms what we all know regarding the issue of the Cashgate. I'm of the view that the issue of the Cashgate has made a significant contribution for Malawi to slide to the current position that it is now.
Cashgate highlighted a lack of accountability in government financial management. This has, among other things, prompted donors to withhold their budgetary support. Chisi says it's high time government acts on the matter.
There are a number of recommendations that as a National Integrity Platform we are putting across. One of it is that we're saying that government should try to make doing corruption become so risky for the people. One of it could be if government can be capacitated to seize proceeds of corruption, that could send a very strong signal to those who will be interested in committing that particular crime. But it's also important that government should strengthen the functioning of all institutions to prevent illicit financial flows, because we know that a lot is happening in terms of companies moving monies illegally from this country at the expense of the people of Malawi. Now, if government can strengthen the functioning of institutions like Reserve Bank, Financial Institute Unit, SCB, MRA, and so on, this could be very useful in sending that strong message so that money should stay in this country.
The Berlin-based Transparency International measures perceptions of graft rather than actual levels because of the secrecy that surrounds most corrupt dealings. Winston Mwale, Zodiac.
Meanwhile, the new European Union ambassador to Malawi says there's still more work to be done for the government of Malawi to improve public finance management to satisfactory levels. Mr. Michel German was speaking in Lilongwe during the signing ceremony for Phase 2 of Addendum to Farm Income Diversification Program, amounting to 13.5 billion kwacha, and Finance Agreement for Promoting Responsible Land Governance worth 1.8 billion kwacha. Charles Wahara reports.
Mr. Michel Gelman's remarks come at a time when donors have pulled out budgetary support to the country's national budget due to the Cashgate scandal, which has seen government lose billions of kwacha. According to Mr. German, the government has to follow proper measures to make sure that resources which are intended for promoting lives are used properly. He says the European Union has given the 2 grants to the Malawi government so that local farmers can be equipped in terms of proper land governance and championing food security.
Those two programs that have been signed today will assist the common farmer in Malawi by providing more clarity on land and encouraging farm agricultural diversification, and by doing so investing in the economy. And lastly, it will also benefit the nutritional status of the farmers concerned.
In his remarks, Finance Minister Mr. Godo Gondwe says the government has put in strategic offices internal auditors who will report any irregularity in public finance management. Mr. Gondwe says in this way there will be no regrettable events with government.
One of the most important things that the Malawi government is doing now is to improve the management of public finances. We are doing the following particularly. One, we have internal auditors placed in a number of important ministries, which means that before money can be spent, an internal auditor will have to audit to show that the items on which money is going to be spent, in fact, is planned for. And therefore, it would not be possible if our plans work out well for a ministry to spend money on something outside the budget.
He noted that the 2 programs will enable farmers diversify agriculture production. The 2 projects are being implemented in 12 districts, including Rumpi and Karonga. For ZBS, this is Charles Wahara.
Consumers Association of Malawi has suspended the demonstrations scheduled for this Thursday in Blantyre, following a promise by Blantyre Water Board that it will increase distribution of water using water bowsers. Kama Chief Executive Mr. John Capito told reporters after meeting with the chairperson of the board that he sees no point proceeding with the demonstration because the board has made a commitment to start providing the water using water bowsers beginning tomorrow in areas where water shortage is very critical.
In that situation then, what we have resolved is that tomorrow we will, because the issue is about water. And we're expecting them that water will begin now. And they have promised that water will begin today and tomorrow thereafter. Then we said, as long as that is a commitment that they have made, we will suspend our march tomorrow, though it's late. But we have said it to them that if they would not live up to their commitment, then we will not have any choice again.
Board Chair for Blantyre Water Board, James Napambo, says the board has hired additional water bowsers from Water Angel to be used in supplying consumers with water in the city.
Now, at our meeting today, it has transpired that yes, we are doing that, delivery of water in bowsers, but there's need for us to step up the delivery of that water by increasing the amount of water being delivered, and also by making sure that the delivery is done systematically. So we've agreed that from now onwards, when we deliver this water, we'll be publishing the program for delivery of this water. We'll be advising you where we're going to go for that day so that people can go and get their water from there. And in the meantime, we are doing everything possible to make sure that water is normalized. When we finish the rehabilitation that we are doing, we'll end up having enough water, more than what the demand for water is in Blantyre.
Earlier in the day, Ministry of Agriculture, Water Development and Irrigation condemned the planned demonstrations by Blantyre residents led by Kama. Principal Secretary for Water Development and Irrigation, Sandra Maweru, told ZBS that the water problem in Blantyre City is nearing an end and normalcy of supply. Jacqueline Shema reports.
Water shortage problems in Blantyre City have been there for some time now. This has now angered city residents who are now talking about taking to the streets on Thursday in protest of the never-changing scenario. The Consumers Association of Malawi, KAMA, plans to lead the protest in which residents will be encouraged to carry excreta in a show of dismay. But Principal Secretary for Water Development and Irrigation, Sandra Maweru, says employing such kind of demonstrations would be uncalled for, as that would enhance the problem rather than reducing it.
For us, it's an issue that has so many aspects to it, but the solution that we're looking at is, I think the equipment that was put there is not longer enough to provide the resource to the growing population that is in Blantyre and even in Lilongwe. So we are calling for the partners that are working in the water sector to look at investing in a way that we are looking at long term, not short term. Solve the current problem, but also looking at the growing population.
Meanwhile, non-government organizations working in the water sector have called for a quick resolution of the challenges by the public and private sector. Ngawira Chatata of Water Sanitation and Management, WESIM, spoke on behalf of the NGOs.
We have gone to inform them from yesterday that the problems that we had have been rectified. And therefore, I don't see any reason why they should take to the streets, because the approach, I think, is an approach that may not help anybody. Because as you listened, they are saying they should carry sewage and human excreta to drop at Blantyre Water Board. Blantyre Water Board is a restricted area. We treat water there for the same people of Blantyre. If they put the human excreta there, what happens of the water that is already treated? So what I'm saying is people should understand and review to the extent of how far they have gone in receiving water.
Currently, the Blantyre Water Board is supplying 75,000 cubic meters of water against the required 90,000 cubic meters. For Zodiak TV News, this is Jacqueline Shema reporting.
The Ministry of Education has warned all primary school management teams in the country against mismanaging funds that ministry provides, saying the tendency derails education quality. Deputy Director of Basic Education in the Ministry of Education, Roderick Josephine Tengwe, has sounded the warning following reports that some learners are sent back home after failing to contribute some money meant for activities such as salary for school guards. Mr. Tengwe explains more.
Our policy is free and compulsory education, as it is stipulated in our Education Act. And when we say free, we are talking about the tuition. We are not supposed to charge tuition. But what the communities do, because sometimes they've got these utilities like water, electricity bills. Sometimes they have watchmen in their schools. They tend to charge our learners, through, of course, through their parents, to contribute towards that. But in terms of tuition, it's supposed to be free. We are providing what we call primary school improvement program grants. This is the school improvement grants to every primary school, every public primary school. And this one minimum that we provide to a school is 600,000 kwacha. And depending on the enrollment, if the enrollment is higher, say 1,000 and above, the school gets more grants. And in some schools, they're getting about 3 million Malawi kwacha towards the improvement of quality and relevance in their schools, towards what we call access and equity in their schools, and also towards governance and management in the schools. Normally, the guidelines are saying that out of that money, 50% should be going towards quality and relevance. That is in terms of teacher availability of teaching and learning materials in the schools, right? Then 40% is about access and equity, whereby we're asking schools, if in case there are some buildings which require some minor maintenance, they can use that money for, and 10% towards governance and management.
Now, maybe to those school management that are asking learners to contribute, maybe what is your word to them as a Minister of Education?
In fact, we are aware as a minister that some learners cannot afford to contribute towards whatever the school is looking for. And we are advising these schools that they are not supposed to send these kids back from school to say, don't, because you have not contributed this. Because we've got other interventions within the school setting whereby the schools can actually seek assistance for such pupils.
Federation of Disability Organizations in Malawi, FEDOMA, says it is high time Malawi government advances technology in disability programs in order to improve the well-being of persons with disabilities. Mrs. Juliana Kabangwe, a member of FEDOMA, says people with disabilities are not accommodated in the technological era, which is compromising efforts of improving their welfare. Malawi joined the rest of the world in commemorating International Day of Persons with Disabilities today, December 3, under the theme Sustainable Development, the Promise of Technology. Grace Kombe spoke to Mrs. Mabangwe.
The theme of this year is Sustainable Development, the Promise of Technology. It is important for Malawi to commemorate this day because each year, as I've already indicated, that it is commemorated worldwide. Malawi, being part of the UN, is supposed to commemorate and raise awareness to the general public. Malawi is a country which obeys the human rights, and within the context of disability, we said disability is a human rights issue. So we need to raise awareness. And this year, as I've said, we are dealing with technology. We need to raise awareness on what technology is all about when we are talking about disability. We are connecting because as far as we know, technology is advancing every day, and we feel people with disability, they have to use that technology. It has to be made in a form of, it has to be accessible. These days we've seen technology being advanced. There are computers which are used by everybody. Now people with disabilities, they have to use those computers. I'll cite an example of those people who have got difficulty in seeing. These days there are packages like JAWS, which when they are installed in computers, they are able to access the computers. They talk when they are using it, they talk. I've seen people with those who are not able to see, they are also able to use the wristwatches, which have got the talking packages. And
Meanwhile, the Malawi Council for the Handicapped, MACOHA, has decried that a lot of people with disabilities in the country continue to miss out on vocational training opportunities due to chronic shortage of funds. More in this report.
As Malawi joins the rest of the world in commemorating World Disability Day, I visited the Malawi Council for the Handicapped, a vocational training center in Lilongwe. Most of the people living with disabilities are taking active roles in vocational training programs like tailoring, cosmetology, accounting, and even technology advancing programs like computer engineering. Jonas Luea is studying computer engineering and complained of employment in the labor market after acquiring skills from the center.
We're not exposed actually to the outside world, whereby if you complete, we have nowhere to go. Maybe I can have computer literacy knowledge, but find that I don't have the resource itself. It's not only me, even others. Once they graduate, the resources are very hard to find, except here at the school. Yes.
Fatima Sidolo is studying accounting at MACOHA Vocational Training Center and advised other persons living with disabilities to explore different opportunities, saying disability is not inability.
Disability is not ability that you cannot do anything else. Disability, even if you are disability, you can't be able to do everything what the people with not a disability can do.
Makroban Manjale is the center manager for MACOHA Lilongwe Vocational Training and says the institution is facing a number of challenges, such as limited funding from government to further skills of people living with disabilities.
Of course, there are several challenges that we encounter, but the biggest problem is resource limitation. You know, as I said, that this is a parastatal organization. It means that it's a parastatal organization, non-profit making, which means we get almost all of the funding from Malawi government. So over the years, the funding has been going down, and that has got a very bad impact on the activities here. So our funding is very much reduced now, to the extent that this time around, we are operating at half capacity.
Today, 3 December 2014, is World Disability Day. The day is celebrated every year and focuses on different issues. The theme of this year is sustainable development, the promise of technology. Throughout human history, technology has impacted the way people live. While other people with disabilities are mostly locked up in their homes. Look at these people here at Makoha Lilongwe Vocational Training Center, showing that disability is not inability. They are also moving with technology, as you can see. For Zodiac TV News, this is Tadala Kalidzira.
A reminder that you're watching the news on Zodiac live from our studios in Lilongwe. We have more after the break.
Have you ever dreamt of being on a reality TV show? If yes, then this is your chance to make your dream come true. It's time for Family Brain Showdown. In a quest to find the smartest family within our borders, Zodiac TV invites you to join this contest. 4 members of one family that feel they are smart, set to compete with others who feel the same way for a prize of 5 million kwacha. To enter, download the form at www.zodiacmalawi.com, fill it, and send it to familybrainshowdown@zodiacmalawi.com.
And now for a recap of this week's auditions.
Amazon Mac.
I don't think the judges are buying this.
That's just borderline pathetic. I want an Amazon Pop performance. Next!
And then it was over to Jimmy, who caught everybody's attention.
Try Amazon Pop. Groove to the cool taste of Amazon Pops, available in many flavors. Amazon Pops, go wild with flavor.
Try Amazon Pop.
It's on. It's on.
It's on. Game on. The Family Brain Showdown, the game show.
A spotlight to showcase your talent. A family fun time.
And the quest to win 5 million kwacha.
The Triple Threat TV show is on. Represent your family, represent your region, stand out from the rest. 4 members, 3 regions, 24 families. 1 family to win it all. Realize a dream to stardom for the whole family. Auditions are here in Blantyre, 6 and 7 December at the John Hopkins Auditorium. Application forms can be collected at the following places: at Zodiac offices located in Delamere House, 3rd floor, or you can download the forms at www.zodiacmalawi.com. You can also call us on the following number:
0997 101 991 0882 860 760.
Be part of the Family Brain Showdown.
Welcome back. Before we proceed, a preview of stories to come. CSOs want First Lady's Beam Trust, NIS and Mlakwa Rumwe to refund NAC funds. "87 students get education sponsorship from Management Sciences for Health." A man battles for life after his private parts were cut off. MDF joins diplomats in fundraising for the war veterans this Saturday. Obama urges Congress to approve aid. A grouping of 5 civil society organizations has told organizations that are accused of using the State House links to access funding from National AIDS Commission to immediately refund the money within 7 days failing which they will be inviting nationwide street protest. Leaders of the 5 NGOs have told reporters in Lilongwe this morning that the organizations, which include the First Lady's Beautify Malawi Trust, National Intelligence Bureau and the Mulakwa Alomwe, got over 40 million kwacha. More in this report.
Some of the country's civil society organizations have been calling for a refund of funds from the National AIDS Commission, NAC, that were provided to the National Intelligence Services, Beautify Malawi Trust and Mulakwa Alomwe. According to the CSOs, the organizations that benefited from the NAC funds did not use the funds for HIV/AIDS-related programs as per requirement of NAC funds. The 3 organizations have benefited from the NAC funds have been telling the nation that there was nothing wrong with the funding. For example, the First Lady, Gertrude Mutarika, founder of BIM Trust, brushed aside the allegations by the CSOs, saying there was nothing irregular in the manner in which the NAC funds were sourced. But on Wednesday, the civil society organizations were at it again. During a press briefing in Lilongwe, the CSOs issued a warning that they will mobilize Malawians to hold national demonstrations if the 3 organizations don't refund the money after the lapse of 7 days. In a statement, the 5 civil society organizations are accusing National Intelligence Services, Beautify Malawi Trust, and Mulakwa Alomwe for using their political influence or connection to get the NAC funding. Meanwhile, the 7-day ultimatum began Wednesday.
There is hope that health delivery in rural communities of the country will improve. Management Sciences for Health has sponsored 87 students from rural areas to pursue medical training at Malamulo and Malawi College of Health Sciences. On Wednesday, the students signed a social bond promising that they will work at least 3 years in rural health facilities after completing their training. Speaking on behalf of health officials, Mwanza District Health Officer Mr. Rafael Rollins Piringu hopes the program will contribute significantly in health delivery, especially in rural areas where a shortage of medical personnel is a big challenge. Grace Kombe reports.
Reports indicate that currently doctor-patient ratio in district hospitals is at 1 to 50,000, whereas nurse-patient ratio is 1 to 12,000 per month, which health officials say is compromising delivery of health services in the country. Management Sciences for Health, MSH Project Director in Malawi, Eric Shkontin, said the organization decided to sponsor the students to pursue medical courses for them to work as nurses and midwives, clinical officers and medical assistants in rural communities.
Now we noticed that in quite a few facilities there's inadequate staff. Either therefore those health facilities are closed or on the threat to be closed, and sometimes only continue to work to some level through the relief health workers. And this is a situation that does not support having good access, good quality and good coverage of health services. As we've seen that, we knew we needed something to do to ensure that staff is willing to work in those places. Often these places are very remote and very rural, and it is very difficult to find staff that is willing to work there.
Speaking on behalf of government officials, Mwanza District Health Officer Mr. Lawrence Piringu acknowledged the need for stakeholders to emulate the gesture and train more health personnel in order to improve delivery of health services.
Very big problem in a way that you are talking like a district hospital, instead of having 10 doctors, is having 1 doctor, sometimes even no doctor. By chance you can have even 2 or 3 doctors. A health center, instead of having 12 nurses according to the standard norms, is having 1 nurse, midwife, sometimes 2 if they have a chance. And instead of having 4 medical assistants, they're having 1 medical assistant and sometimes no medical assistant. But you are waiting for this health worker to work during day and night, because people, they suffer all the time.
On Wednesday, the students signed a social bond in Blantyre, promising that they'll work in their communities at least 3 years after completing their courses. This is one of the students.
I'm very, very happy because those people have helped my parents in the way that they were not able to help me at the school. But as of now, I'll qualify and I'll pursue my studies so that I will help my relatives there in the remote area where I'm coming from.
The students have been identified through tradition leaders in districts of Mwanza, Blantyre, Neno, Katabe, Cholo and Chiradzuru. Grace Kombe, Zodiak TV, Blantyre.
Still on health, the man who was recently attacked and had his private parts gruesomely chopped off is still battling for his life at Kamuzu Central Hospital. Meanwhile, Lilongwe Police spokesperson Sub-Inspector Kingsley Ndaula says the police has arrested 2 men, a Malawian and a Nigerian, in connection to the crime. Tadakalizira reports.
Chimwemwe Madea lies in agony at Kamuzu Central Hospital in Lilongwe. He recalls how 2 men gruesomely chopped off his private parts when they attacked him Saturday dawn. He tells me he was coming from a drinking joint at Njewa in Lilongwe.
Ndinanyamuka kuti ndidzivira ku nyumba ndikuyandikira kurara nditathapa magesi pandima ndinakumana ndi anthu awiri amene ndinangodutsana nawo pang'ono anandichecha nkundigwetsa ndimadzuka kenako anadzanditema ndi chikwanje basi kunadzabwera saa awiri ena analowerera nkuyamba kundimenya ine anandimenya nazo zikwanje anali ndi mipeni yawo anandibaya nayo anandigwira pakhosi nikundikokera mdimba atandikokera mdimba wina anandigwira pakhosibe nkundivula trouser wina anatulutsa mpeni nkundidula dziwalo maliseche anga amusi basi ananditenga nkundiponya mchidzenje chimene amatungamo madzi mchitsime anthu aja ndikumarani ndikumapita.
Now Chimwemwe will live his entire life with a urinary catheter according to doctors at the hospital. Meanwhile, police have arrested a suspect, Pulamazira Kangumbi, on suspicion that he was found in possession of private parts at the same Njewa location, which police believe belonged to Chimwemwe. Actually, Lilongwe Police spokesperson Sub-Inspector Kingsley Ndaula alleged that the Saturday attack is linked to a Nigerian national whom he says has been dealing in illegal private parts trade. The Nigerian has also been arrested. For Zodiac TV News, this is Tadala Kalidzira.
Let's now move on to international news. President Barack Obama is back asking Congress in the United States of America to approve $6 billion in emergency aid to fight the deadly Ebola outbreak in West Africa. President Obama made the plea on a visit to the National Institute of Health, where he congratulated scientists on work underway towards developing a vaccine.
The World Health Organization says 6,055 people have died in Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea. The medical charity Médecins Sans Frontières has again strongly criticized the international response. The organization described the response as patchy and slow, saying the job of tackling the crisis was largely left to doctors, nurses, and charity organizations. The MSF report says foreign governments, notably the United Kingdom in Sierra Leone and most recently China in Liberia, were continuing to build Ebola treatment centers. But these were sometimes in the wrong places and using underqualified local staff.
Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta has replaced his interior minister and police chief following a massacre by Islamist group Al-Shabaab. The president asked Kenyans to unite and said there was no flinching in war against terrorists. Tadaka Lezira has the details in this BBC report.
Kenya Police Chief David Kimaiyo stood down while Interior Minister Joseph Olelenku was dismissed. Earlier, Al-Shabaab killed 36 quarry workers in the northern eastern Mandera region near the Somali border. The group attacked the workers around midnight on Monday while they were asleep in tents at the quarry in Kormei, 15 kilometers from the town of Mandela. Non-Muslim workers were shot dead after being separated from the Muslims. Speaking on national television, Kenyatta said this was a war against Kenya and Kenyans, a war that every Kenyan had to fight.
Let's now move on to sports news. In a bid to use sports as a tool to generate money, the Malawi Defence Force will join diplomats to raise funds for the war veterans in a charity march this Saturday in Lilongwe. This was announced at a joint press briefing organised by the diplomats and the Malawi Defence Force. Mike Bango reports.
The briefing in Lilongwe was led by British High Commissioner to Malawi, Michael Nevin, and MDF Commander Major General Maulana. The Saturday game at Silver Stadium from 1:45 will also be part of commemorations of the centenary of the 1914 Christmas Truce football match. The Football Members' Week will mark 100 years since British and German soldiers put down their guns and started playing an impromptu game of football in no man's land on Christmas Day 1914 in Flanders, Belgium. Here in Malawi, the focus will be raising funds to assist the war veterans.
It's open to the public to come and watch the game. It's to raise money for veterans, the MDF veterans, but it's also 100 years since the First World War Christmas Truce, where during that time the British sides and the German sides, many of the soldiers, they had an unofficial truce, and as part of that they played football.
The British ambassador was joined at the briefing by the German ambassador Peter Vogt, who reminded why Malawi Defence Force should be supported.
I think the army is an important part in the Malawi society as well, and the army played a very, very, very important role in the past period. So we all need to support the army, in particular the veterans, those who are sometimes a little bit forgotten. And I think this is a great opportunity for us and as well for the Malawi public to join up and shake hands and as well have a look into our wallets and contribute.
Meanwhile, Malawi Defence Force Army Commander Major General Ignacio Maulana has reminded Malawians why they should join hands and take part in this game.
I think we all have a history, and once in a while we have to be able to look back where we're coming from. I think, and what we're saying is we have veterans here in Malawi, people who fought to get us where we are today. And once in a while we have to look back and say thank you. And this football match is there for them. Whatever we get is there to assist them. So we're just calling on the general public, if they can, and whenever they can, they should be able to give, I think, a helping hand.
Fans coming to watch the match between diplomats and Malawi Defence Force will be required to pay 500 kwacha, as later on they will also be treated to a final game of the TNM Super League between Silver Strikers and Azam Tigers. According to Major General Maulana, spectators will also be asked to donate what they can during the game, while players taking part in the game will also pay.
That's how we wrap up tonight's edition of the news. But before I sign out, another look at the top stories again. Cashgate forced Malawi down global index. European Union urges Malawi to do more to improve public finance management. Kama has suspended the demonstrations scheduled for this Thursday in Blantyre over water crisis. Education Ministry warns against mismanagement of public funds. On that note, it's time to say bye-bye. I'm Veronica Mwane, thanking you for being there. Good night.
Signed, sealed, and delivered with a punch. Zodiak News at 7 captures the essence of news on television. We give you the intrigue in the major stories, the fascinating current affairs, the dramatic encore in breaking news. With creativity and innovation, we cover various topics of interest. We journey into the extremes to make you see and know the real truth, and nothing but the real truth on the real issues in our society, the economy, the politics, entertainment, and sports. We are Zodiac. We aim for the highest standards, open up to new horizons, ideas and opinions, and follow us as we take you right there. Zodiac, you deserve.